Alright, so, hello English 9. Today I'm going to be talking about the body of your essay and how to organize that. And so what we're going to go through on this video is that we're going to go through some organizational strategies that'll help you order your ideas and create them to make your essay flow well, to make sure that the transitions make sense, and just to make sure that you have an idea what you're talking about so the reader is not confused, so you don't jump around from idea to idea, and this will help out, okay? So, next slide. The first way that you are able to organize is by space. And when I say by space, I mean you're either describing a location or a person of some sort. And so this might be the organizational tool for you. So these are the reasons why. And the way that works effectively for most of these essays is to start with the bigger concepts of the room or of the person, like an overall bigger idea in your first paragraph. And then as you go through your body, you narrow it down of some of the smaller details about that person. So for an example, down here, let's say you are describing a room, so like your bedroom or a living room or something like that. You might start with the bigger pieces. How big is it? What's the color on the walls? What's the color on the carpet? Stuff like that. That's kind of your bigger, over the top things where it's located in your house. And then as you go through your essay, you might get to the more personal details. The furniture, the windows, the lighting, all those kind of things. And what it does, it kind of gives the reader a virtual tool or tour of the person or of the bedroom or of the room in general. And so, because when you look at a room, the first thing you kind of notice is how big it is, what color the walls are, stuff like that. And then you notice all the little things. So it's kind of where your eye goes is how you would write it. Or for a person, you might describe the person in general, and then get to the smaller things about that person. So this is a great way to organize if you're doing something like that. All right, next slide. This one is organizing by time. And so if you're writing stories or if you're explaining events, you may organize your essay as such. So here, be sure to include specific events, but not every one. I'm going to give a couple examples of what I read for the last essay. I read one where the student was going to a concert. And instead of explaining the concert, they explained why they were there. They explained standing in line. And by the time they got to the concert, they didn't have enough information about the actual concert, and that's the most important part of it. And so, when you're writing your essays, especially with a chronological order one, you have your timeline that might be, one day. And maybe instead of writing about the whole thing, you write about from here to here. And then get really specific on why you are writing about it. So when you're writing time stuff, make sure that you're telling the story, but you're not giving us too much information. Another example was a couple people wrote about the volleyball night, where they had a shut-in. And so instead of saying, what we did before, we were at the football game and then we went there and we got our pillows and blankets. And I mean, that stuff you don't really need to have. I mean, that's not important. The important part was the team bonding part of it. And so you could talk about the dodgeball. And maybe you just talk about dodgeball. Maybe you just talk about the water, or the water bottle painting, or you talked about the hide and go seek that you guys played. And so maybe, there's three different events there. Maybe you talk about those three events just, or maybe you take one of them and you break it down into smaller parts and be specific. And so that's what I'm talking about when you're organizing in chronological order or in the order of the events. Okay, organizing by content. This is kind of when you're writing an informational piece. A lot of you guys did the word webs yesterday, and so when we're talking about the word webs, you're dealing with your event, and then the one, the two, the three, maybe even like the four. And yesterday I saw a lot of people have like smaller, like little webs on here. And my advice to you is to make sure that everything can tie back to your, oh, there we go, to your three or four main things, because that's what you're gonna write about. Yeah, it's good to have these, but make sure that they kind of tie back to these. Otherwise, you don't really need them. They're just extra information. And then your idea isn't going to be as strong. And you'll skip around, and your message will be murky when it should be really clear to the reader. So that's content. And then the last one is perspective. This is for essays where you want to convince me or your reader about something. And so what you're going to do is you're going to begin with a clear statement of your position. This usually goes in your introduction. And then the rest of your article is, or your essay is, the reasons for it and or against it. Because you might write the other side believes this, they're wrong, and I'll tell you why, blah, 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 blah. Make sure you give the best evidence for the side that you feel is right. And most of you aren't going to be doing one of these ones. Most of you are going to be content, time, or space. For these, anyway. This is more for persuasive pieces later on. Now we're going to talk about some transitions. And what transitions are, they're connecting words and phrases that show how one idea or paragraph can connect to another. So you got your paragraph here, you got your paragraph here, and then you have a little break into your next paragraph. You need a way to connect this one to this one, okay? You need to make sure that they connect. And this is only for the body paragraphs. You don't need a connection from your introduction to your first body because you already told us what it's going to be about. And you don't need one from your last paragraph to your conclusion because that's just a conclusion, okay? So really, you'll have about 2, maybe 3 transitions altogether. And so here are some words that you can use for when you're doing transitions. So if you're doing a location one, so if you're doing a person or if you're doing a room, you could talk about above, you're talking about, maybe something to do with the bed, and then you say above the bed, blah blah blah, or beneath, or amid, or in back of, beyond, in front of, beside, and so you're moving from one idea to the next, and so that's always good for location. If you're comparing or contrasting two different things, here are some words that you can use, and I'm going to give you a handout of all these words. So if you're taking notes, you don't have to write these down. So, yeah. So similarly, but, however, conversely, even so, otherwise, even though, on the other hand, in the same way. And so you're moving from one paragraph to the next by saying these kind of words. To show time, you can go first, second, third. I mean, it's a little boring, but it gets the job done. Next, later, then, afterwards, soon. Those will let us know that you're moving on to another idea, and that's kind of what you want. And then to conclude or summarize, finally, to sum up, to clarify. As a result, in short, in summary, in conclusion, And so you're concluding one idea to go to the next. And then one to add information besides, in addition, for example, furthermore, and equally important are words or phrases that you can use. They don't have to go at the beginning of the sentence. They can just be somewhere in there as long as it makes sense. And we're going to work through this, okay? I want to meet with people. I'm going to read your introductions, and we're going to be talking about this stuff today. So while you are reading this and you're working on your body, which we do on Wednesday, um, I'm going to talk to people and talk about your introductions. Okay. So Wednesday is the body, three to four paragraphs. Oops. There we go. Wednesday is the body. And so, you have any questions, you can email me. Watch this over again, but I'm going to be talking to most people today and Tuesday to make sure that they're on the right track for their body. So, all right, have fun with this and work on your essays. All right, bye.